Good morning, road trippers. How is everybody doing today? I hope you're doing great. Today we're going to talk about all kinds of different stuff about towaway trucks. Thanks again to Ray. He gave me the idea this morning on Facebook because I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about, but I did have an idea, and I'm going to talk about that on Monday. What I'm going to talk about Monday is not even drive-away related or Uber related. It's more just travel related in general, which is kind of what I want to do. But today, we're going to talk about the difference between using a three-quarter ton and a half ton or a 1 ton. Half ton doesn't even exist in this world. And then dualies versus non-dualies. And I'm going to go a little bit further with other things too. But first, I want to talk about something that I find slightly amusing is that the last video I made, the women drivers video, nobody's watching it. And it's funny because probably, most likely, people are thinking that, oh my God, he is bashing women drivers. When in fact, I'm not. I'm actually giving advice to women who want to be in the drive-away, tow-away, and Uber worlds. So I think it's kind of funny because it's getting almost no views. I mean, well, it's compared to all of my other videos, it's getting nothing. So that being said, let's talk a little bit. Oh wait, no, we have to do my big intro. Oh, I love that. I don't know why I love that, but I do. And good morning to whoever's watching. I'd like to say hi and go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me who's there. I think I know who it is, but we'll find out. So today we were going to be talking about trucks. Oops. There, come on, hit the button. Uh-oh. Did it just freeze on me? There we go. Don't know why it did that. So we're going to be talking about trucks. We're going to be talking about using a three-quarter ton over a 1 ton. We're also going to talk about using a dually as versus non-dually. What are the advantages of them? I might even go into four-wheel drive a little bit and possibly even the differences between the different manufacturers. So here we go. First of all, let's talk about three-quarter ton and 1 ton. Okay, it's very, very simple. First of all, we're not going to talk about half ton because a half ton is pretty much useless in this industry. Three-quarter ton is the easy entry because it's a little cheaper, but you can't haul as much. I mean, when you have a 1 ton, you have a bigger hauling capacity, so that's a little bit better. Now, the difference is with a three-quarter ton, you can take your magnets off of the side of the vehicle. You don't have to have a permanently affixed DOT number, and that means you can technically, you don't have to log your driving hours while empty, but we talked about that before. That's a gray area. If you have a commercial plate vehicle, you probably should log your hours driving empty, which could be a problem. So I don't know if you want to go that route, but with a 1 ton, you have to log all your hours, empty or not. And I'm going to have a coughing fit in a minute. So that's the big difference between three-quarter and 1 ton. Why would you want to haul something a little heavier? Well, because they pay better. If you can haul, one day I didn't know what the trailer was. He just hooked me up with a trailer, and with a three-quarter ton, he gave me a park model. I can't haul a park model with that, and a park model pays a lot better than everything else. And if you don't know what a park model is, it's like a big 40-foot. Almost, it's meant to be more of a permanent trailer camper, whatever. You see it a lot down in Florida, and you see them a lot in the warmer climates where people use as a mini retirement home. It's a lot more economical to use than, say, having a house in Florida. So anyway, I couldn't haul it, so I couldn't even get it up. Couldn't even get the trailer high enough to get to my hitch. And I used a couple of little tricks to get it as high as I could. I couldn't get it high enough. So anyway, that's the difference between three-quarter ton and 1 ton is basically you can make more money with a 1 ton, but it's a little bit higher cost of entry. So you have to maybe work your way up to a 1 ton if you don't really have the money to purchase a 1 ton. Now, the big difference between dualies and not dualies. Dualies, again, you can have it's a better ride, but then again, you will probably have to log all of your hours, because I believe I don't even think you can get one in a 3/4 ton. You have to get a 1 ton for that, or even bigger than that. So number one, you'll be logging all your hours, empty and loaded. Number two, you can haul bigger loads, and it's more stable. So when you have a crosswind, or when anything kind of is happening that's making it a little unstable, those dualies, since they're out a little wider, makes it a lot more stable ride. And that's really what it is. The downside of that is now you have 6 tires to replace when you got to replace tires, and those tires are not going to be cheap. So it is a little bit more expensive. Talking about 4-wheel drive is to not having 4-wheel drive. A lot of drivers like to have 4-wheel drive. When I was driving, it was a different situation where I had a lease where I didn't even get to pick the vehicle. They just said, this is the truck you're going to be driving. And they gave me a Ram 2500 4x4. It was lifted so high it was ridiculous. It's like, okay, so my truck is, boy, this thing does not want to move too quick. My truck is the truck that's on the left. Okay, it doesn't look like it's lifted very high, but trust me, that thing was lifted a lot higher than what I care to have. That was actually the truck I used. I don't like that. But 4-wheel drive, a lot of people like that because it's really nice in the snow and the rain and all, the thing. But quite honestly, and we talked about this the other day, if it's snowing that bad where you got to be in 4-wheel drive, maybe you should just pull off and not go anywhere. And then you can have the argument both ways. Everybody's going to have their own opinion on that. My opinion is 4-wheel drive is awesome to have in a normal truck, because when you're at home, you need to get somewhere, you can get somewhere. It is not a bad thing to have, because sometimes you might have to pick up in the mud or whatever, and you can get out a little bit better. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of. Can you tell I'm kind of torn? So yes, having a 4-wheel drive is a good thing. But when I had that, again, I only drove it for about 2 or 3 months. I never put it in 4-wheel drive, and I drove in some weird conditions. And I was in some mud. But I never used the 4-wheel drive. That's. I have a sneeze coming. I can just feel it. See? Anyway, so that's what it is between 4-wheel drive, not 4-wheel drive. It is a personal preference, but if you're going to drive around a 4-wheel drive all the time, you're just going to pull money out of your pocket because it's going to cost more fuel. It's going to use more fuel than you care to have. And let's talk about the different brands of truck. This is going to cause a shitstorm in the comments, possibly, because everybody has their own opinion. Now, this is my opinion. My opinion is based on me driving a Dodge 2500. It is based on what other people tell me about driving their trucks. It is based on what people tell me about their fuel mileage of driving their separate trucks. And it is also a little bit driven on what my experiences were driving my Dodge. Number one, the Dodge 2500. Okay, great truck, very solid. The Cummins engine with the Allison transmission, great combination. Loved it. One of the most uncomfortable trucks to drive after a couple of hours. That seat sucks. Okay, and that in my mind is very important. It got great fuel mileage. I mean, when I was driving empty, I was getting in the almost 30 miles to the gallon in the high 20, mid to high 20s, which is fantastic. Did use diesel, had DEF, had to take care of all that. Pulling, I would get anywhere between 8 on a heavier trailer and got down to 7 on a really heavy trailer on a windy day, a headwind kind of day. And then we also got about 12 on a couple of the smaller, lighter trailers. And I think I even hit 14 once when I had a nice little tailwind. That was a beautiful day. So anywhere between 7 and 14 miles a gallon pulling a trailer. Now, Chevy, don't know a lot about Chevy. My drive-away dispatcher actually used to drive his Chevy with the Duramax. He had a 3/4 ton, I think it was. He loved the hell out of it. He said it got great fuel mileage and it was great to drive. It was very comfortable, and he liked it. Okay, and that's his opinion. He's the only one I know that drove the Chevy Duramax. Now the Ford, I'm going to go on record here. In the past, and for a major part of my life, I have been a Ford man. Okay, and having that Dodge was like, oh God, I'm going to hate this, because I was never ever a Dodge fan. I have swapped a little bit because the Ford, they break down. Okay, that's a big problem, and they do break down a little bit more than everything else. Now, in the past, this was not the case. In the past, the Fords were a lot more reliable, but now they're not. The Dodge with their Cummins is very reliable. The Ford with a Power Stroke is a little bit more troublesome. Now, back when the first Power Stroke first came out, it was very troublesome, but they have gotten a little better. Now, if Ford would have been able to get the deal with Cummins and put their Cummins in there, it would not be an issue. But that was a long time ago. It was like 20 years ago, and it never happened. But what I do like about Fords is they're very comfortable to drive. I enjoy. I had a Ford F-150 for a long time. I granted that I never used it to tow, except for a very small 8x10 trailer that was a cargo trailer with almost nothing in it. So it was always a light trailer. So I can't really say I did a lot of towing with that, but I liked it, And then the turning radius on a Ford is a little bit tighter, but then because of that, there's actually a problem with some of the steering components underneath, by the tire. The tie rods, I think, have a problem, and they tend to crack and break because it has such a tight turning radius. So you have pros and cons of everything. Now, if you want a good workhorse, the Dodge is great. It really is, with the Cummins and the Allison transmission. That thing, I never had any problems with it. It was great. Again, I only drove it for 3 months, but I hated that seat. After 2, 3, 4 hours, I just did it. Hi, Ray. Nice to see you, man. That's okay. You're here. I hope you might want to watch from the beginning, and I talked about what you wanted to know, but right now I'm in the truck brands, and I'm glad you're here. If you have any, you drove big rigs, so I don't know how much you know about driving the smaller 3/4 ton, 1 ton trucks, but with the Dodge, I also did not like the fact that, and this was all of them, because this was probably the biggest thing that got me away from Towaway. You sleep in the back seat of the truck. Most of them are pretty good. Yeah, half ton is a F-150, but I didn't drive that commercially. That was my personal vehicle that I never drove commercially, and it's useless. I mean, don't ever. If you don't already know this, that the half ton, and I'm not talking to you, Ray. I'm talking to anybody else who doesn't know this. If you only have a half ton and you don't know why it's not a good thing, maybe you should stay out of trucking, out of doing towaway, because you may not be ready for it. I know I wasn't. But what I didn't like about doing towaway is that you sleep in the back seat of your car or your truck, pretty much. And I am not a very tall person. I'm like 5'6", 5'7", so I'm not very tall. But I could not stretch out really well in the back of that truck, and I didn't like it. The lady drivers are scary-looking girls. What do you mean by scary-looking girls? I like lady drivers. They're awesome. My sister was one. Yeah. Yeah. I saw. We'll talk about that in a minute. I want to get this done in a second. Anyway, with the driving the truck, I didn't like sleeping in the back seat because that just was not my thing. Now, if I had the money to put a sleeper in and do all that, then yeah, sure. And I've actually thought about going into big trucks, and I may still do that. There's a company around here, actually north in Minnesota, and I may actually do that. I don't know. I haven't decided, and go into that and drive that, and maybe my wife can go with me in a big truck if she wants. So anyway, talking about the women, it was funny. Yesterday's video was not meant to. The title was meant to entice people to come in. Women drivers. Oh my God, they're horrible. No, I didn't bash, but you know what? Because of that, I think it was because of that. I don't know. Maybe because I'm not that well known, which is probably it. That video got like a third of the views of all these other live streams, I think it's funny because that title was meant to bring people in. It kept people away. And we do have someone else watching, Ray. And of course, they're being quiet. That's fine. If you don't want to chat, that's fine. Yes. Now let's talk about those women drivers. I broke down with a truck in Akron, Ohio. This was like my second or third truck that I had in drive-away in my more recent adventures. And of course, I didn't know anything. So the truck broke down, and it was just a stupid thing. I probably could have kept driving it, but they pulled me out from under it. Got stranded in Akron, Ohio during the Hall of Fame game. So there was like nobody going anywhere. I couldn't get a rental car. It was a nightmare. And couldn't get a ride going anywhere. I just needed to get to Indiana. So, and I'm getting to the women drivers. So I met this one lady who was a driver, and you could tell she's been doing this for a while. I mean, she was a very nice woman, very great woman, and she would have given me a ride had she was going in that direction, and she was not. But she drove a flatbed, and if you guys know what it takes to drive a flatbed, I don't. I know it's a bitch, and I know you got to know a lot of stuff about a lot of things and really know your shit about driving. And you have to be able to muscle some loads around and do all and muscle the tarps down, and the straps and everything. There was no way I was going to mess with this woman. I mean, she looked like she was a sweetheart, but you could tell she was an ass kicker. I mean, she was not one to be messing with. It was, again, and there's a lot of those out there. I mean, there's any flatbed driver. If you ever see a flatbed driver, that's the last person you want to mess with because their job is hard. I know there's people. Oh, I love flatbed. Hey, that's great. Glad you do. I'm the kind of guy that wants to hook the trailer up and go. I don't want to load it. I don't want to unload it. You know, I'm the standard boring, lazy truck driver. That's what I would be. And Ray, I think you drove reefers, didn't you? I think that's what you did, and that's great. I actually picked up one of the trucks I picked up was from a company that only did reefers, and what they did is they were selling a bunch of their used units and I was transporting them from Texarkana all the way to Cincinnati to a dealership. And I'll tell you what, I think that unit had about 200,000 miles on it roughly. It drove like it had 2 miles on. Well, probably drove like it had 2,000 miles on it, and it was so smooth. And I know a lot of drivers don't like driving bobtail with no trailer on the back. For those of you who don't know what that is, and a lot of people don't like driving bobtail, but the roads were smooth from where I was going to where I was going, and I just set the cruise control, and that thing it's like driving a car, a really tall car, no, kind of a long car, but it rode smooth. It was a Freightliner Cascadia. It had the nice sleeper on it and everything, so I had a good place to sleep and all that fantastic stuff. I enjoyed driving that, and that's why I've been thinking about getting into driving big trucks. And again, thinking about it. I also want to I want to continue to do video, and I'm kind of having my midlife crisis. Like, what the hell do I want to do with my life right now? So if you guys have an idea of what I want to do with my life right now, that would be great. You guys tell me, and then if it's something I'm actually interested in, I'll think about it. And I'm having it's dry here, man. I need to have a lot of water. So with Towaway, at this point, I don't have anything else I can really give you unless you guys have questions. And that's kind of what it's all about. So Ray, come on, man. I got 2 people watching. You're one of them. And whoever the other one is, I don't know. If you can't comment on YouTube, go ahead and throw a Let's Talk Travel hashtag in a Twitter, or you can Twitter directly to me at TravelMan68, and then I can see your question through Twitter, because I am monitoring Twitter and I'm monitoring the comments and chat on this video. So I would love to know what kind of questions you have. Here, let me show you some more trucks. Did you use all-terrain tires? Well, hell, that's a good question. Let's take a look at the tires. I used those tires right there on the left. They were the standard tires that came with the truck. There was nothing special about the truck I got. It was the 4. Oh no, I didn't use mud tires. No, I used standard. I think they were 4-season tires. So there was nothing special. They gave me it was a 2015 Dodge 2500 4x4 Cummins with an Allison transmission. The Cummins was awesome. Going through the mountains in New Mexico, from I forget the names. Anyway, going through the mountains in New Mexico, with the engine brake and all that, with the Jake brake, it was fantastic because I just rode like a roller coaster. It was great riding over the hills, and that was with a load. It might have been that load. Was that load? Come on. No, that one was in Oregon. The truck on the right is just a picture I grabbed from the internet. It just happened to be a Dodge of the same color, but that shows you why you might want to do a dually, because you can I think you can do a little bit heavier loads, and that would be much more stable than doing a non-dually. So yeah, I had normal four-season tires, and the nice thing about the lease with, and I believe Horizon still does this. So Ray, you might want to look into this. What it was is I had to come up with some money. I think it was $1,000 down, and it isn't cheap to get into, but they have a deal with Enterprise where you can get a lease for, and it's not a cheap lease. So if you're not going to do this hard, which I know you want to work hard, and you need to make sure that you can make the money and talk to other drivers doing this, because I did not make money. I lost money because I basically didn't know what I was doing. Well, I did know what I was doing, kind of, sort of, but not with a towaway. I really kind of failed. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you get at least the fifth wheel and trailer hitch. If you can get the gooseneck hitch also, that'd be great. But you want to have as much as you can. But the problem is that's more expensive, because that way you can actually get more loads. And you want to make sure you get in with Central Dispatch and make sure that you can drive for them. And you want to contact. Basically, if you hustle, you can make good money doing towaway. But I did not have the money to put into that, and I ended up that was my downfall, because I did a half-assed. Because I did a half-assed, I got screwed. And so nowadays I can't do things half-assed anymore. Ray, you always have great questions, man. I really appreciate you. I can't. Well, I was going to talk about something else today. I did have a topic in mind. It had nothing to do with towaway, or drive away, or Uber. It had to do with travel in general. And I'm probably still going to talk about it on Monday, unless I come up with something else, unless something pretty wild happens this weekend. And I did a tour yesterday. I did a Chicago City tour, and it was a friend of mine had asked me to do a favor, and I did her a favor, because she knows, she's been to Chicago, but she's not a city guide, and she can do some stuff about Chicago. And she did like Millennium Park, did a pretty good job on that, and then turned it over to me after that. And it was only about a 3-hour tour. Actually, it ended up being almost about 2.5 hours, because we started a little bit later than I expected, which is fine. I prefer to do about a 4 or 5 hour tour of Chicago, but we had a good time. I mean, it was a small group. Most of them were very mobile. We had one lady with a cane, and the one who had really bad health problems, actually, she never joined the tour in the morning. She had to go, and she just couldn't handle it. But anyway, it was a pretty good tour. We went down to the Roby House in Chicago. I know I'm talking about stuff that's not truck related, because basically I want to kill about another 7 minutes. We're going to be done here at 9:30. I have things I got to do with the wife. She has a little business going on, and we have to go get some products for her business so that she can sell them. And no, it has nothing to do with anything you guys would be interested in, because she sells the stuff somewhere else. And it has literally, you guys would not be interested in it, because you can buy the stuff that you want. It's a long story. We're not getting into that. Anyway, what else do you guys want to know, man? Trucks related, drive-away related. There's one thing actually I realized, or I found out when Ray had asked me about if his car was towaway or dinghy towable or flat towable, same thing. Basically put a tow bar on it and drag it behind a motorhome. And since he asked about that, I pulled up the list, and I found out that my car, the one I own, my little Focus, is flat towable, which is really nice. Just turn the key one and put it in neutral and go, and so that as long as the steering wheel is unlocked. Of course, I might want to have to pull the fuse so that it doesn't turn on all the accessories, because I don't really want the radio and everything on, because I don't want to drain the battery. But anyway, it's flat towable, so I could, with probably, I don't know, maybe $1,500, between hooking up a tow bar, and I would pay someone to do it, because I know there's people out there that say, oh, I can do it, I can weld the tow bar, blah, 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 blah. I can't, and even if I could, I don't want to. I would rather have it be done by people who do 50 of them in a week, or not 50, but half a dozen in a week or so, and they do them all the time, and they know how to do it the right way. And that's what I want to do, is I want to have someone who can just do it and get it done and have it done in half a day, and then I can go drive. And that's what I would do. My problem is that I'm an idiot, and I let my CDL go away. Dumbest thing on the planet. We don't want to talk about that. Everybody's quiet now. Why? I want to do this again. I'm going to throw up my little intro thing. I love this little beanie. Isn't that cool? I like that. I think it's neat. So am I going to have to cut this short? No more questions? No more drive-away, tow-away, truck questions? Okay then, well, I'm going to go to my end card and we can talk about that. That means I'll be done a little early and the wife might be happier. So basically, this is Let's Go Road Tripping. We talk about a lot of different things. We do talk about travel. As you can see, I've got some videos down here. I've been to China, the Terracotta Warriors. I've got some other Chinese videos or videos out of China. I have other tip videos. My car rental video, I got some videos like the 5 strangest U.S. monuments. I'm kind of disappointed in that. I really liked doing that video. It was really cool, but nobody watches it. Anyway, and if you want to see some really stupid videos, I put a playlist together. If you look on my channel, you'll see a playlist that has my cringiest videos. Because, oh my god, they're bad. So click subscribe to go ahead and join our community. I would love it, and you'll be able to watch more videos like this. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram. I haven't done much with that lately, but don't even bother with Periscope right now because the only live streams I'm doing is right here on YouTube. And that's pretty much all I've got. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I will have another live show Monday, 9 a.m. And you please join me. I would love it. And until next time, safe travels.